Hello everyone. Today we will going to discuss about the photochemistry of vision. The specific learning objectives of these lectures are to know about photopigments, to know about effect of light photon on these photopigments, and to know about receptor potential of photoreceptors. Now first we will discuss about the photopigments. So you all aware that in the eye photoreceptors are there in the retinal layer. There is a one separate layer of photoreceptors. These receptors are rods and cones, and this rods and cones, they contain the specific chemicals. That chemicals, they are known as the photopigments. So both rods and cones contains chemicals that decompose on exposure to light, and in the process they excite the nerve fiber leading from the eye. Now the photochemistry of vision, it mainly includes the process in which the light photons, they converts the chemical energy which is present in the rods and cones into the electrical energy. It means they convert the this photo energy into a electrical response in the form of receptor potential. Okay, this light sensitive chemicals in the rods is called rhodopsin, and light sensitive chemicals in the cones called cone pigments or color pigments, and they have composition only slightly different from that of rhodopsin. Now this rhodopsin is mainly made up of scotopsin and retinal, while this cone pigments, they are mainly made up of photopsin and retinal. So this is the difference, only difference, that rhodopsin is made up of scotopsin plus retinal, and cone pigments, they are made up of photopsin plus retinal. The retinal are same, the only difference is that of the protein opsins. In rhodopsin it is scotopsin, in cone pigments they are photopsin. Now we will going to discuss about the retinal visual cycle and excitation of the rod. So rhodopsin or visual purple. Now rhodopsin is also known as visual purple. If you remember our previous lecture, in that we had discussed that when we see the retina as such, the retina having a purplish tint, and this purplish color of retina is mainly because of this rhodopsin, which is also known as the visual purple. It is a combination of protein scotopsin and carotenoid pigments retinal, and this is also known as retinine. The another name of retinal is retinine. Furthermore, the retinal is a particular type called the 11 cis retinal. Now this is its physical structure, that this retinal is 11 cis retinal. The cis form of retinal is important because only this form can bind with scotopsin to synthesize rhodopsin. So this physical form, which is known as 11 cis retinal, it is important because only this form is able to bind with scotopsin and to synthesize the rhodopsin. Okay. So one thing is clear, that rhodopsin is made up of scotopsin plus 11 cis retinal. Okay, that is the final composition of rhodopsin, scotopsin plus 11 cis retinal. Now in this visual cycle, some changes occur in this structure of rhodopsin when the light photon strike with the rod. Okay. Now rod is made up of outer segment, inner segment, nucleus and synaptic body. If you remember the structure of the rod, then it having a outer segment from outside to inside, having a outer segment, inner segment, nucleus and synaptic body, and this outer segment is made up of several disc, or its membrane is modified into disc or sacules. Okay, this disc, they are actually impinging on a pigmented epithelium, okay, and the 40% part of this membrane or discs, they are formed by the rhodopsin. Okay, rhodopsin, it is a photochemicals, it is also a type of transmembrane protein which is present in the membrane of outer segment of rod. Okay, and when the light rays they strike with the rods, they start one chemical process which is known as retinal visual cycle, and at the end of this chemical process there will be a excitation of the rod. So that we will going to discuss now, that what happen when the light photon they strike the outer segment of the rod. Okay, so because of this striking of the photon of the light rays, there will be a starting of decomposition of rhodopsin. The rhodopsin start to decompose. When the light energy is absorbed by rhodopsin, the rhodopsin begins to decompose within a very small fraction of second. The cause of this photoexcitation of electron in the retinal portion of the rhodopsin, which leads to instantaneous changes of cis form of retinal into the trans form. So within a fraction of the second, this cis form of retinal is converted into all trans form, and during this conversion is passed through several phases. Why this changes occur? Because the three-dimensional orientation of the reactive sites of all trans retinal no longer fits with the orientation of reactive sites on the protein scotopsin. So the all trans retinal begins to pull away from the scotopsin. So you can see in this figure that this one is the rhodopsin. When the light energy strike with the rhodopsin, it start to decompose. Okay, within the picosecond, it converted into bartho-rhodopsin. Within the nanosecond, this all are the unstable structure. Okay, so they cannot remain in this form for a longer duration of time. When the light energy strike, the 11 cis form is converted into or beginning to convert into trans form, and when it begins to convert into all trans retinal, it start to separated from the scotopsin. Okay, and during this process, first the bathorodopsin is formed. Within the nanosecond, it is converted into lumirodopsin. Within the microsecond, it is converted into metarodopsin 1 and then into metarodopsin 2. This metarodopsin 2 is also known as a active rhodopsin, because it is this active form of metarodopsin 2 that going to stimulate the several enzymatic system within the rod, and that enzymatic system or enzymatic cascades, they are going to form the receptor potential. Okay, so this metarodopsin 2 then separated from scotopsin, and then whatever we get is the transform of retinal. Okay, so finally this rhodopsin, they are converted into scotopsin plus all trans retinal. The immediate product when this system start, the immediate product is bathorodopsin, which is partially split combination of all trans retinal and scotopsin. Barthorodopsin is extremely unstable and decay in nanosecond to lumirodopsin. Bathorodopsin is extremely unstable and decay into nanoseconds to lumirodopsin. This then decayed in microsecond to metarodopsin 1 and then in about a millisecond to metarodopsin 2, and finally much more slowly in seconds into the completely split product of scotopsin and all trans retinal. It is a meta-rhodopsin 2, also called activated rhodopsin, that excites the electrical changes in the rods, and the rods then transmit the visual image into central nervous system in the form of active now action potential. So this is how the visual cycles they operate. That first, the light ray strike with the rods, the rhodopsin, they absorb the light photon and start to decompose. Earlier it is made up of scotopsin plus 11 cis retinal. This 11 cis retinal is start to convert into all trans retinal, and during that conversion it's gradually separated from the scotopsin, and in between few unstable products are formed, that are bathorodopsin, lumirodopsin, metarodopsin 1, metarodopsin 2, and finally scotopsin and all transretinal. Because all transretinal having a physical form, they are not going to remain attached with the scotopsin. Okay, so that's why they are separated from the scotopsin. So our final product is scotopsin plus all transretinal. Now this all transretinal, they, when the person remain in the light for a longer duration of time, this all transretinal, it is converted into all transretinol. This all transretinol is actually a vitamin A, and this vitamin A is stored in the cytoplasm of rods as well as in the cones and in the pigment epithelium. Now after a few uh, after few seconds or few minutes, this all transretinal, they are also reconvert into 11 cis retinal with the help of enzyme isomerase. Okay. So now we see the process of reconversion or reformation of rhodopsin. The first stage in the reformation of rhodopsin is to reconvert the all transretinal into 11 cis retinal, because to reform the rhodopsin we require this 11 cis retinal, because all transretinal, they are not going to attach with the scotopsin, and to form the rhodopsin we require two things, 11 cis retinal plus scotopsin. So first we have to convert the all transretinal into 11 cis retinal. This process required metabolic energy and is catalyzed by enzyme retinal isomerase. Once the 11 cis retinal is formed, it automatically recombines with the scotopsin to reform rhodopsin, which then remains stable until its decomposition is again triggered by absorption of light rays. So this is the whole cycle, that rhodopsin is first converted into scotopsin plus all transretinal, and then all transretinal is converted into 11 cis retinal, and then it is once again combined with the scotopsin and converted into rhodopsin. So this one is the whole visual cycle, okay, starting from rhodopsin and end with also rhodopsin. There is another step by which the 11 cis retinal can form, that this all transretinal is converted into all transretinol, that is a one form of vitamin A. This all transretinol then with the help of the isomerase enzyme converted into 11 cis retinol, and this 11 cis retinol is converted into 11 cis retinal. So this is the another way. This one is the another step by which all transretinal get converted into 11 cis retinal. This one you can say indirect step, this is the direct conversion. So these are the two process by which all transretinal can converted into 11 cis retinal, and this 11 cis retinal then combined with the scotopsin and forms the rhodopsin. So this is about the visual cycle. Role of vitamin A for formation of rhodopsin. There is a second chemical route by which all transretinal can be converted into 11 cis retinal. This is by conversion of all transretinal first into all transretinol, which is one form of vitamin A. Then the all transretinol is converted into 11 cis retinol under the influence of enzyme isomerase. Finally, the 11 cis retinol is converted into 11 cis retinal, which combined with scotopsin to form new rhodopsin. Vitamin A is present in both cytoplasm of rods and the pigment layer of retina. Now, the vitamin A is important because in the deficiency of vitamin A, night blindness is the first symptom which going to occur. Okay, so night blindness occur in any person with severe vitamin A deficiency. But to occur this deficiency, the person must remain completely off of any type of vitamin A sources, dietary sources of vitamin A. If the person is remain abstinent for I think minimum 6 months without vitamin A, then it start to develop the symptom, because vitamin A is a fat soluble vitamin and it having a ability to remain stored in the liver. Okay, so from this storage site, the if even if there is a deficiency in the diet in the earlier days, these storage sites they provide enough vitamin A. And whenever if the night blindness it start to develop, and if the immediate vitamin A injection is given, then this store depleted stored can be replenished and the person is become completely normal. So this is about the importance of vitamin A. Now, excitation of rod when the rhodopsin is activated by light. So till now we had in visual cycle we had discussed the chemical changes. Now we will going to discuss how this chemical changes is going to uh, change the electrical response within the rods. It means the rods and cones, both the photoreceptors, they are a part of neural retina, neural layer of the retina. So they are a neural structure. It means they are excitable tissue, and every excitable tissue, as you all know, having a resting membrane potential. And when we excite this or when we stimulate this excitable tissue, there will be a change in this resting membrane potential. Depending on the type of stimulus, this change may be causing the depolarization or hyperpolarization. Okay, and in that way, if the stimulus is adequate, it means it is able to reach up to the threshold, then they generate the action potential. Okay. But this rods and cones, they are the receptors, so they having a receptor potential. Now you will learn in the CNS about the receptor potential of sensory nerve fibers. This receptor potential, they are actually a graded potential. It means they depends on the strength of stimulus. If strength of stimulus is more, the generation of potential is less. Sorry, if the stimulus is less, then the generation of potential is less. If stimulus strength is more, then the generation of potential is more. It means change in the voltage is high. Okay, so this receptor potential are graded one. They are not going to follow the all or none law. Okay, and this in about the receptor potential or property of that potential you will learn in detail in CNS, in the sensory receptor potential. Okay, but this receptor potential are either of two type, either they are depolarizing or they are hyperpolarizing. In most of the sensory receptors, the somatic senses which you will learn in the CNS, most of the sensory receptors having a depolarization type of receptor potential. But this rods and cones photoreceptor, they having a hyperpolarizing type of receptor potential. It means when they get stimulated, there is a increase in the negativity inside the receptor cells. Normally, when any receptor is stimulated, there is increase in the positivity inside the receptors, but here in rods and cones or in photoreceptors, when the light rays strike or when the photoreceptor is stimulated by the light rays, there will be a increase in the negativity inside the receptors, and that is why this type of potential which is generated in these rods and cones, they are known as hyperpolarizing type of receptor potential. So this is the main difference, and this may be asked in the MCQs, that which type of following sensory receptor having the hyperpolarization type of receptor potential. So the answer is the photoreceptors or rods and cones. Okay. So now let's see how this hyperpolarizing type of receptor potential is generated when the light rays strike with the rod. Okay. So, first in this figure, this is the process which is going on in the dark, okay, when the receptor is not stimulated. So, this is the outer segment, this one is the inner segment, this is the nucleus, and this one is the synaptic body. This is the, do you remember the name of this membrane between the inner segment and the nucleus of the rods and cones? This is the outer limiting membrane. Okay. Now, the inner segments having a sodium potassium ATPase pump. Okay, as you can see, this one is the sodium potassium ATPase pump, which pumps the 3 sodium outside and 2 potassium inside. So, ultimately there will be a decrease in the intracellular sodium and increase in the intracellular potassium. There is in the inner segment there is non-gated potassium channels which are open, and it expel the potassium outside. Okay. So, you can see the potassium, they are coming out from the channel. The pump, this one is the pump, this one is the channel. I think now you are aware with the sign. Okay. This type of sign, they suggesting the pump, it means it is active transport. This is channel, it is suggesting the passive transport from higher concentration here to lower concentration. Now, this sodium which is come out here, it is once again enter into the outer segment with the help of cyclic GMP gated channel. It means this is the gated type of channel, it means it only remain open under the effect of cyclic GMP. So, whenever the cyclic GMP is there, these channels are open. If the cyclic GMP are not there, this channel become closed. Okay. But in the dark, cyclic GMP is there and this channel are open. So, ultimately whatever sodium is lost, it come back. Okay. So, this is the normal thing which happen, and now here because the positive ions, they are coming back inside the receptors, the receptor potential of rods and cones, resting, sorry, not receptor potential but resting membrane potential of rods and cones is around -40. Normally the receptor potential, resting membrane potential of other somatic sensory receptors, they are around -70 to -80, but here in this case the resting membrane potential is -40 because the positive ions, they are come back in some amount. Now, when the light rays strike, okay, our visual cycle occur, it convert the rhodopsin into the activated rhodopsin. Activated rhodopsin means meta-rhodopsin 2. This activated rhodopsin, it activate a one transmembrane protein or membrane protein which is a transducin. It is a G protein. Okay. So, this transducin then activate another enzymes which is known as cyclic GMP phosphodiesterase. Okay. So, rhodopsin, they activate the G protein transducin, the transducin, it activate cyclic GMP phosphodiesterase. This cyclic GMP phosphodiesterase, they convert the cyclic GMP into 5-days GMP. Now, in this way the cyclic GMP concentration decreases. Normally this cyclic GMP is required to keep this sodium channel in the outer segment open, but when the cyclic GMP concentration decrease, this sodium channel is going to close. This channel is closed, and when this channel is closed, in the light, means when light strike, the sodium, they are not able to enter into the outer segment. So, the entry of positive ion, it stop. Okay. So, that create the more negativity because the sodiums, they are sodium and potassium, they are already coming out from the inner segment, sodium by sodium potassium pump, potassium by potassium channel. So, there is continuous loss of positive ion from inner segment, and when the light strike, the entry of positive ion is also stopped. So, exist continue, entry inside the cell is stopped. So, ultimately it facing the loss of positive ion and increase the negativity inside the rods and cones, inside the photoreceptor, and when the negativity is increase inside any excitable cells, that process is known as hyperpolarization. So, this is known as hyperpolarization. So when the light rays strike, it causes the hyperpolarization. So this is excitation of rod when rhodopsin is activated by light. Now this excitation cascades because this all process they occur step by step, and at each step the next step is more prominent, or the one step they stimulate the next step, and the next step they stimulate the third one, then fourth one, but at each step the their strength of stimulus is increases, okay, their intensity is increases, and because of this the only the one photon rays they are able to close a thousands of sodium channels. Okay, so how this process is possible, that we see in this excitation cascades. Under optimal condition, a single photon of light, the smallest possible quantal unit of light energy, can cause a measurable receptor potential in a rod of about 1 millivolt. Okay, so receptor potential can increase up to 1 millivolt with help of only a single photon, or we can say the single photon of light having the ability to increase the receptor potential of about 1 millivolt. Only 30 photons of light will cause half saturation of rod. Okay, so 30 photons are enough to saturate half of the rods. So these are the process. The photon activates an electron in 11-cis retinal portion of the rhodopsin. Then this 11-cis retinal is converted into transretinal, and then there will be a formation of meta-rhodopsin 2. This meta-rhodopsin 2, they are known as activated rhodopsin. They activate many molecules of transducin. This transducin is G protein, we have just discussed in previous slide. This transducin then activates many more molecules of phosphodiesterase. Okay, phosphodiesterase is also an enzyme which act on cyclic GMP. This activated phosphodiesterase they hydrolyze many molecules of cyclic GMP, and this cyclic GMP is required to keep the sodium channel open. So when the cyclic GMP molecule hydrolyzes, there will be a decrease in the cyclic GMP molecule. It close the sodium channels, and that closure of the sodium channel that causes the hyperpolarization in the rods. And after some times there is one more enzyme that is known as rhodopsin kinase, which is always present in the rods. It inactivates the activated rhodopsin. So this meta-rhodopsin 2 is inactivated by rhodopsin kinase, and after some times we know that the resynthesis of rhodopsin start, or reformation of rhodopsin start, that all transretinal is converted into 11-cis retinal, either of the two pathway, either directly or indirectly, and then it combined with the scotopsin to form the rhodopsin. So this is the reformation of rhodopsin, but this is the whole excitation cascade in which the one activated one photon, it going to close the so many channels of sodium ion, and we're going to generate this hyperpolarization. Now normally in the dark there will be a releasing of neurotransmitter glutamate from this synaptic body. So when this hyperpolarization occur, the release of this glutamate from this synaptic body is stopped. Okay, so under the dark the glutamate is normally released from this synaptic body. When the light strike, this release of glutamate from this synaptic body, which actually synapse with the bipolar cells or horizontal cells. Okay, so this release of glutamate is stopped or inhibited when the light strike. So this is about the visual cycle, the generation of receptor potential, and overall photochemistry of vision. Thank you.